The world was forever changed on the day the sky broke open. It began as a shimmering ripple in the upper atmosphere, a distortion that telescopes and satellites captured but couldn't explain. What at first seemed like a beautiful yet curious anomaly quickly turned ominous. The ripple expanded, its edges glowing faintly, and began to distort the clouds around it. Scientists scrambled to decipher the anomaly, poring over data streams and telemetry in real time, but no answer came in time. The theories ranged from an unusual meteorological event to a wormhole or even a malfunction in satellite imaging systems. But as the hours passed, it became clear that this was no error and no natural phenomenon. Humanity's collective imagination had long entertained the notion of visitors from the stars, but no one could have prepared for the reality of their arrival. Hours later, the distortion solidified, and from it emerged a colossal alien mothership, casting a shadow over entire cities as it descended. The first sighting was captured over the Pacific Ocean, where its massive silhouette blotted out the sun. The rippling distortion had grown into a portal, a rift in the fabric of the sky, and from this tear in reality came the vessel. Its arrival was both majestic and terrifying, like the slow, deliberate movement of a predator approaching its prey. The sheer size of the ship dwarfed any human-made construct, stretching miles in length and bristling with spires, domes, and glowing fissures that pulsed with an eerie blue light. As it moved closer to Earth's surface, smaller alien craft began to detach from its underbelly, like metal wasps from a hive, and descended towards major population centers. The mothership was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It was not merely an object but a statement of overwhelming superiority. Its architecture defied human understanding of physics and engineering. The surface of the ship seemed alive, a shifting mosaic of metallic plates that moved like muscle tissue. Observers on the ground noted how the light played off its surface, creating patterns that were hypnotic and disorienting. Every inch of the ship seemed to pulse with energy, a living entity more than a machine. Its spires reached upwards as if to challenge the heavens, while its underside extended outward in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and rearrange themselves as it moved. It was a masterpiece of alien technology, a visual and sensory overload that overwhelmed even the most seasoned experts. The sound it emitted was a low, resonant hum that vibrated through the air, rattling windows and setting off car alarms. This hum wasn't merely a sound, it was a physical force. People who stood beneath the ship described feeling it reverberate through their bones, as though the very fabric of reality was being warped. For those who stood beneath it, the hum wasn't just a noise, it was a presence, oppressive and inescapable. It triggered a primal fear, a sense that humanity was being dwarfed by something far greater than itself. Animals reacted violently to the sound, with birds taking flight in chaotic flocks and pets howling or cowering in fear. The hum seemed to carry with it an unspoken message. Something incomprehensibly powerful had arrived. The psychological impact of the ship's presence was immediate and profound. People froze in place, staring up at the sky in disbelief. Social media platforms were flooded with live-streamed videos, images, and frantic messages. News outlets struggled to keep up with the unfolding event, their reporters caught between professional detachment and the same overwhelming awe that gripped everyone else. The sight of the mothership was both beautiful and horrifying, a symbol of something otherworldly and unknowable. For some, it was a confirmation of long-held beliefs in extraterrestrial life. For others, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Governments around the world scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called, and military forces were placed on high alert. Fighter jets were scrambled, their pilots instructed to approach the mothership with caution. Scientists worked tirelessly to analyze the ship, hoping to understand its purpose or origin. Was this a peaceful contact, an interstellar greeting, or a prelude to invasion? Attempts to communicate with the mothership were met with silence. Radio signals, laser pulses, and even visual signals were sent, but there was no reply. The silence was deafening, a void that only heightened the sense of unease. As the mothership hovered above Earth, its smaller craft began their descent. These ships, sleek and angular, moved with an unsettling grace, their surfaces reflecting the light in ways that made them difficult to track. They descended upon major cities, their presence triggering widespread panic. Crowds gathered in the streets, some driven by curiosity, others by fear. The sound of sirens filled the air as police and emergency services tried to maintain order. In some places, religious groups took to the streets, proclaiming the arrival as a divine event. In others, chaos erupted as people looted stores and fought over supplies, convinced that the end of the world was near. The initial encounters with the smaller alien craft only deepened the sense of dread. These vessels emitted beams of light that scanned the ground, their purpose unclear. In some cases, they hovered silently for minutes before departing. In others, they released smaller drones that moved with insect-like precision, surveying the area and collecting samples. The drones' movements were unsettlingly organic, as though they were alive. Efforts to engage these craft with weapons proved futile. Bullets and missiles were either deflected by unseen barriers or ignored entirely. Humanity's technology seemed laughably primitive in the face of the invaders' capabilities. As the hours turned into days, the true scope of the alien presence became clear. The mothership was not merely a vessel, it was a harbinger of change. Its underside began to open, revealing vast arrays of machinery and structures that seemed to defy gravity. From these openings emerged swarms of biomechanical warriors, creatures that combined organic and mechanical elements in horrifying ways. These invaders were not just machines but living entities, their bodies a grotesque fusion of flesh and metal. They moved with terrifying speed and precision, their limbs ending in blades, claws, and integrated weaponry. The biomechanical warriors descended upon cities with ruthless efficiency. They targeted critical infrastructure first, destroying power plants, water supplies, and transportation hubs. Their attacks were surgical, designed to cripple humanity's ability to respond. Communication networks were among the first to fall, plunging cities into chaos. Without the ability to coordinate, humanity's defenses were fractured and ineffective. Panic spread like wildfire, and in the absence of order, violence erupted. Looting, riots, and mass evacuations became the norm as people fled the cities in droves. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity did not surrender. In the face of annihilation, pockets of resistance began to form. Soldiers, police officers, and civilians banded together, using whatever weapons they could find to fight back. Their efforts were heroic but ultimately futile. The alien warriors were nearly unstoppable, their bodies impervious to most conventional weapons. Yet, for every defeat, humanity's resolve grew stronger. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to understand the invaders, hoping to find a weakness that could be exploited. The world watched in horror as one city after another fell to the invaders. Hong Kong, New York, Paris, and Tokyo were among the first to be overrun. The footage of these cities being reduced to rubble was broadcast globally, a grim reminder of the invaders' power. Yet, even in the darkest moments, there were glimmers of hope. Stories of bravery and resilience began to emerge. In London, a coalition of soldiers and civilians managed to hold a defensive line for nearly 48 hours, giving thousands of people time to evacuate. In rural areas, communities banded together to protect their homes, using improvised weapons and guerrilla tactics to fend off the invaders. As the first month of the invasion unfolded, humanity was pushed to its breaking point. The mothership loomed ominously above, its presence a constant reminder of the threat that hung over the planet. Yet, in this crucible of destruction, a unified resolve began to take shape. The diversity of humanity, often its greatest source of conflict, became its greatest strength. People from all walks of life came together, pooling their knowledge and resources to fight back. Scientists discovered that the biomechanical warriors had vulnerabilities, small weaknesses that could be exploited with the right tools, and so, even as the alien mothership continued to cast its shadow over the Earth, humanity prepared to strike back. The war for survival had begun, the world is in chaos, but there's a sense of urgency and determination that drives nations to set aside their long-standing disputes. Countries once at odds now unite under a single banner, realizing that their survival depends on collective strength. The coalition draws on the military forces, intelligence networks, and industrial might of all its members. Key leaders from different nations appoint military commanders and scientists to spearhead the offensive. Together, they create a unified command center to manage strategy, technology, and defense efforts. Scientific and technological analysis. While the military force focuses on direct confrontations, a specialized team of scientists, engineers, and tech experts are tasked with studying the alien invaders' technology. This team's mission is to understand the alien weaponry, spacecraft, and energy sources. The invaders' tech is highly sophisticated, beyond anything Earth has developed, which makes the task seem nearly impossible. However, even in the face of overwhelming odds, the humans begin to find patterns and flaws. The aliens rely on a highly advanced form of energy, possibly harnessing a kind of power that humans have never encountered. However, they find a way to disrupt the power source using a modified EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that targets the alien's delicate energy matrix, effectively disabling key systems temporarily. The invaders use energy shields that can deflect most conventional weapons. But the humans discover that the shields only function when the alien ships are in motion. By calculating the aliens' flight patterns, they learn how to create missiles with adaptive homing devices that can disable the shields when the ships are at rest, such as during landings or slow maneuvers. The alien communication system is decentralized but interconnected, making it incredibly resilient. However, the humans manage to develop a jamming frequency that can temporarily block their signals, causing disarray and confusion within the alien ranks. Infiltration and sabotage. The world leaders and military commanders, now aware of the aliens' technological vulnerabilities, devise a desperate plan to infiltrate the heart of the alien operation. The strategy focuses on sabotage, destroying the invaders' critical systems from within. However, such a mission is fraught with risks. The alien mothership is the central hub of the invaders' operations, where the leadership is located and where critical commands are issued. It is heavily guarded and surrounded by a fleet of warships, but the coalition has gained enough intel to know that it's vulnerable in specific ways. The suicide mission. To penetrate the mothership, the coalition forms an elite unit of soldiers, scientists, and engineers, each chosen for their unique skills. They are tasked with infiltrating the mothership's docking bay, planting explosive devices, and manually shutting down power relays. The goal is to disrupt the invaders' command center long enough for the rest of the world's forces to strike. The team must move quickly, using stealth technology developed by engineers who adapted alien tech. They wear cloaking suits and use disguised vehicles to approach the mothership without being detected. Once inside, they'll have to move through tight corridors, facing alien sentinels and automated defenses. They must find the core control room and plant explosives in key infrastructure systems. The strategic offensive. While the infiltration team risks everything, the rest of the coalition prepares to launch a global assault. The humans' ultimate strategy is a multi-pronged attack. EMP strike. First, a powerful EMP bomb is deployed by airstrike to disable the alien mothership's communication systems and shield defenses for a short period of time. This opens a window for the coalition forces to launch their attack with maximum effect. The EMP disables the invaders' ability to coordinate, creating a breakdown in their logistical networks. Aerial assault. At the same time, advanced fighter jets and drones, equipped with the newly developed weapons that can bypass the shields, carry out precision airstrikes on alien command posts, bases, and warships. They target weak points identified by the scientists, like the energy conduits and communication arrays. Ground assault. Meanwhile, ground forces engage in direct combat with alien ground troops, now that their aerial support and communication have been disrupted. The forces use unconventional tactics like guerrilla warfare, employing the element of surprise and using the environment to their advantage. Counterattack on Earth. The invaders, realizing their technology is being sabotaged, may attempt to launch a retaliatory strike. To counter this, Earth's military forces prepare countermeasures, including a defense network of satellites designed to intercept any alien missiles or attacks on Earth. The key to victory: disruption and coordination. The overall strategy hinges on timing and the ability to coordinate multiple attacks while the infiltration team completes its mission. The world's military forces need to be synchronized, operating like a single organism rather than independent entities. Simultaneously, the scientific community continues to monitor the invaders' weaknesses. If they can successfully disrupt the alien technology at the right moment, it could cause a chain reaction that cripples their fleets. The combined efforts of the human forces may also lead to the possibility of weaponizing alien technology for Earth's defense, enabling them to not just defend but also gain an advantage over the invaders. The coming days are filled with uncertainty. Will the infiltration team succeed in their mission? Can the global coalition execute their strategies without losing too much ground? The stakes are unimaginably high. Humanity's resilience, creativity, and unity are its greatest strengths, but it's uncertain whether they can overcome the technological might of the invaders. However, with the aliens' own vulnerabilities now revealed, there is a flicker of hope that Earth may stand a chance in this desperate war. Humanity's survival had hinged on a single, high-stakes operation, an infiltration of the alien mothership. This mission, born out of desperation and the hope that the invaders' technology could be turned against them, had become the focal point of a united global effort. A select group of soldiers, engineers, scientists, and tech specialists had been chosen for their unique skills and unwavering dedication to the cause. The chosen team was a mix of soldiers hardened by battle, engineers with a knack for understanding alien tech, and scientists who had studied the invaders' patterns and weaknesses for months. They came from every corner of the Earth, symbolizing the unity of humankind in the face of annihilation. The team's goal was simple, yet the risks were insurmountable. Sabotage the mothership's power core to cripple its systems, throw the invaders into chaos, and buy enough time for Earth's forces to launch a full-scale assault. The plan was meticulously crafted over weeks. Using every scrap of alien technology the scientists could reverse engineer. The most difficult part, however, was the infiltration itself. The mothership was a labyrinth of alien architecture, its massive hull protected by energy fields and guarded by an army of sentient war drones. It wasn't just an ordinary military operation, it was a race against time, filled with the terrifying prospect of failure. The team, known as Task Force Orion, was dropped into the heart of the invaders' fleet under the cover of an EMP strike that temporarily disabled the mothership's outer defenses. They used cloaking technology, adapted from alien tech, to slip past detection as they approached the mothership. Their stealth craft skimmed across the vastness of space, evading radar and enemy ships. Their destination was a well-guarded docking bay, where the team would board the mothership and begin their sabotage. Entering the mothership. Inside the mothership, the atmosphere was unlike anything the team had ever experienced. The walls hummed with an eerie energy, and the air was thick with the smell of ozone and unfamiliar chemicals. The interior was an otherworldly maze of crystalline structures and metallic corridors, glowing with an alien blue light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the ship's energy core. The mission commander, Captain Selena Garcia, led the team through the corridors with military precision. Garcia, a seasoned veteran of Earth's defense forces, was no stranger to high-risk operations. Her instincts told her that time was running out. Each step forward took them deeper into enemy territory, and the invaders were likely aware of their presence, even if they hadn't yet detected them. They reached the central access point, a towering structure that housed the mothership's power core. The core itself was a massive glowing orb of energy, pulsating with an otherworldly force. It was the heart of the ship, supplying power to all its systems, including the cloaking shields and advanced weaponry that had devastated Earth's defenses. To disable the core, they needed to plant a series of explosives designed to disrupt its power flow. But the core was protected by a series of defense mechanisms, including automated drones and energy barriers. Every corner of the mothership seemed to be alive with threats, but Task Force Orion pressed forward, each member playing their role to perfection. Engineer Ezra Kim had been tasked with hacking the mothership's security systems. As he worked his way into the ship's network, the walls began to vibrate ominously. "We've got company," he said, sweat beading on his forehead. The alarms began to blare as the first wave of drones materialized from hidden chambers, their glowing red eyes fixed on the intruders. Without hesitation, the team opened fire, their weapons crackling with energy as they took down the drones one by one. Despite the overwhelming odds, the team's preparation paid off. The drones fell, and they moved quickly, planting explosives in the core's protective conduits. However, they were far from safe. A much larger force was on its way. Sabotage and disruption. With the explosives planted, the team moved to the final stage of their mission, detonating the charges. They had rigged the bombs to trigger a cascade of disruptions across the mothership's core, not just disabling its power but sending shockwaves throughout the ship, causing widespread disarray. As they initiated the countdown, the core pulsed with an intense energy, and the ship seemed to groan in protest. Suddenly, alarms blared in every corner of the mothership, and the once unseen invaders revealed themselves. They were a race of towering, biomechanical creatures, their bodies encased in shimmering exoskeletons. They had been lurking in the shadows, waiting for the intruders to make their move. Now, the team was surrounded, trapped in the heart of the enemy's fortress. Despite the danger, Task Force Orion remained focused. Captain Garcia barked orders, directing the team to defend their position long enough to ensure the explosives would detonate. With only seconds to spare, Ezra hacked into the mothership's control systems, overriding the security protocols that would have stopped the bombs. He held his breath as the countdown reached its final moments. 10 seconds, he muttered, eyes glued to his console. The tension in the room was palpable. The invaders closed in, their weapons crackling with deadly energy. But at that moment, the explosives detonated. The chaos unleashed. The explosion was deafening, ripping through the power core with terrifying force. The entire ship shuddered, and a blinding wave of energy washed over the team. Systems went dark. Lights flickered. The invaders' communication network collapsed, and their fleets were suddenly blind, unable to coordinate their movements. The effect was immediate. The mothership began to list, its energy systems flickering in and out. The automated drones went offline. Communications between the invaders' forces broke down, causing confusion and chaos throughout their fleet. For the first time since the war had begun, humanity had an advantage. Captain Garcia's voice crackled through the comms. "This is our moment. We've disrupted their systems. Move out." As the team made their escape, the invaders' efforts to regroup were futile. Their once perfectly synchronized fleet was now a disorganized mass, vulnerable to a counterattack. The destruction of the power core sent shockwaves through the invaders' leadership, and their ability to control their forces was crippled. Task Force Orion barely made it back to their extraction point, fighting off desperate alien troops in their path. As they boarded their cloaked escape ships, they were filled with a sense of accomplishment, knowing they had given humanity its first real chance at victory. Humanity's morale surged. Back on Earth, the news of the successful infiltration spread like wildfire. For months, humanity had been on the defensive, struggling against the relentless might of the invaders. But now there was hope. The invaders were no longer invincible. They had a weakness, and humanity had found it. The news of the sabotage and the resulting chaos sent shockwaves through the global coalition. Military leaders immediately began coordinating a massive offensive, launching waves of counterattacks against the disorganized alien fleets. On the ground, resistance movements in occupied cities gained momentum, bolstered by the knowledge that the invaders were not as invulnerable as they had seemed. Humanity's morale surged. People who had once believed that Earth's survival was hopeless now began to believe in the possibility of victory. The global coalition, united like never before, pressed forward with renewed vigor. The invaders, reeling from their initial shock, scrambled to recover from the blow, but their command structure was in disarray. The battle continues. While Task Force Orion had succeeded in sabotaging the mothership, this was only the beginning. The war was far from over. The invaders were not going to surrender easily, and the humans knew they had to press their advantage before the invaders could regroup. The global military, bolstered by the success of the sabotage mission, launched a full-scale offensive, targeting key alien bases, weaponry, and communication hubs. Every strike was coordinated with precision, as the alliance of nations knew that they had one shot to finish what they had started. The war had taken a pivotal turn, but it was still anyone's fight. The question now was whether humanity could maintain its momentum and turn the tide for good. With the alien mothership's power core disabled and their communication networks in disarray, humanity finally seized the opportunity to strike back. The global military coalition, forged in the heat of desperation, launched a coordinated, full-scale assault on the invaders, their fleet, and their strongholds. The initial euphoria of the sabotage was tempered by the knowledge that the battle was far from over. The alien invaders, though weakened, were not defeated. Their fleets had suffered a catastrophic blow, but they still retained formidable strength and advanced weaponry. The coalition's forces now had to fight with precision, exploiting every vulnerability they had discovered in the alien technology. Rallying the forces. The successful sabotage mission, which had crippled the mothership and thrown the alien forces into disarray, ignited a global rallying cry. Around the world, military leaders mobilized their forces, drawing on years of training and months of survival tactics. Every corner of the globe was affected. No continent was left untouched by the conflict. Civilians who had once been afraid now joined the fight in whatever capacity they could, from technical support and intelligence gathering to volunteering for frontline combat. At the heart of the human assault was an unprecedented coordination of advanced military technology and strategy. Nations shared their technological advances and resources, creating a united front that no single country could have achieved alone. Weapons that were once mere dreams were now real and deployed in the field. The new human arsenal. Human-designed weapons. In the wake of studying alien technology, Earth scientists and engineers had been able to develop new weapons capable of striking the invaders' weaknesses. These weapons were humanity's response to the overwhelming firepower of the aliens. Pulse cannons. Drawing from the alien energy matrix discovered in the mothership, human engineers designed pulse cannons capable of firing devastating energy bursts. These weapons disrupted the invaders' shielding systems and caused massive damage to their forces. Adaptive missiles. Once, Earth's missiles were no match for the alien shields, but after analyzing the weaknesses in the invaders' armor, engineers created missiles that could adapt their trajectory and frequency to bypass energy shields. These missiles were now able to pierce the invaders' ships, creating havoc in their fleet. EMP bombs. Designed to disable alien electronics, EMP bombs were now used on a global scale. Strategic EMP detonations disabled alien weapons and communication systems, leaving them temporarily vulnerable to conventional human tactics. Plasma rifles and armor. New infantry weapons, powered by plasma energy, were handed out to soldiers across the globe. These weapons had the capacity to penetrate alien exoskeletons and cause severe damage to their biomechanical soldiers. Along with personal armor enhancements, designed with alien materials, the soldiers were better equipped than ever before. Drones and exosuits. Drones equipped with cloaking technology and precision strike capabilities were unleashed to harass the alien fleet. Additionally, exosuits designed for heavy combat allowed human soldiers to fight on par with the invaders' supersoldiers, with enhanced strength and mobility. The opening strikes. The assault began in earnest when the global military coalition launched a wave of aerial strikes against the alien fleet. Fighter jets, now equipped with alien hacking technology and enhanced weapons, flew in perfect coordination, launching precision attacks against key alien ships. Each strike targeted weaknesses that had been discovered in the mothership systems, using adaptive missiles to disable the invaders' shields and strike at their core infrastructure. The alien fleet was still formidable, but the sudden barrage caught them off guard. Their once steady formation faltered as their ships began to break apart under the concentrated firepower. Meanwhile, drones and autonomous war machines, developed with input from Earth's best engineers, followed up with swift, destructive strikes, targeting alien ground positions and support facilities. At the same time, human soldiers launched coordinated ground offensives in alien-occupied cities. Resistance movements, fueled by the sabotage of the mothership, took the fight to the invaders with renewed vigor. Civilians, once cowed into submission, became active participants in the war effort. Underground bunkers and hidden bases were activated as the human resistance grew bolder, joining the military in daring raids on alien positions. The tide of the battle had shifted. As alien forces scrambled to regroup, humanity pressed its advantage, taking control of key strategic points and dismantling the invaders' infrastructure. The battle for Earth's future. The aliens, reeling from their initial losses, soon realized the full scale of their vulnerability. The sabotage of the mothership had not only disrupted their power source but had also shattered their leadership's ability to issue coordinated commands. The alien hierarchy, once a well-oiled machine, had descended into chaos. But the invaders were not without their retaliatory measures. In the wake of their losses, the alien leader, Xyrix, the Supreme Commander, prepared for a final all-or-nothing assault on Earth. Xyrix had been the mastermind behind the invasion, and it was said that he held the key to their fleet's survival. Xyrix was no mere warlord. He was a hybrid of flesh and technology, his mind fused with alien machinery. He was an imposing figure, towering over even his most loyal commanders. His command was absolute, and his intelligence network was unrivaled. The final battle, however, was not only about military might but about the psychological warfare waged between him and humanity. The climactic battle, the fall of Xyrix. The location of the final confrontation was not on Earth but within the heart of the alien armada. Humanity's forces, now bolstered by their newfound advantage, launched a massive assault on the flagship, the last remaining stronghold of the alien leadership. The air was thick with tension as Earth's final assault group prepared for the mission. Task Force Orion, led by Captain Selena Garcia, was joined by the elite of the global military coalition. The soldiers, clad in powered exosuits, had one objective: board Xyrix's flagship, penetrate its defenses, and confront the alien leader directly. The flagship was a towering, warship-like structure, heavily armored and protected by waves of elite alien soldiers and automated drones. But humanity had learned from their mistakes and adapted. They launched a devastating assault, using pulse cannons, EMP blasts, and adaptive missiles to break through the ship's outer defenses. As the breach opened, human forces flooded into the flagship, fighting tooth and nail to reach the command center. The battle inside was brutal. Xyrix's personal guard, biomechanical enforcers, fought fiercely, but humanity's new technology, combined with superior tactics and raw determination, gave them the edge. The final stretch toward Xyrix's chamber was a race against time, as the alien leader prepared for one last desperate defense. Xyrix himself appeared at the center of the flagship, a terrifying figure in his biomechanical armor. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, and his voice, amplified through speakers, echoed throughout the flagship. "You dare defy me? I am the end of your species. There is no victory for you." Captain Garcia, leading the charge, faced Xyrix with steely resolve. "This is the end for you, Xyrix. The world will rise again, and your reign ends here." The final confrontation was a battle of both strength and intellect. Xyrix unleashed waves of destructive energy, his biomechanical enhancements giving him immense power. But the human forces fought with unyielding determination, using everything they had learned about alien technology to counter his attacks. As the battle raged on, Captain Garcia and her team found a way to breach Xyrix's energy shield, exposing his vulnerable core. With a final, devastating strike from the newly developed plasma rifle, they pierced the alien leader's armor and struck at his heart. The flagship shook as Xyrix let out a roar of defiance, his body breaking apart under the force of the blow. His reign, and the alien invasion, came to a violent end. Humanity's victory. The death of Xyrix sent shockwaves through the alien forces. Without their leader, their command structure collapsed, and the remaining alien ships either surrendered or retreated. The humans, weary but victorious, stood in the ashes of their greatest adversary. The world had changed. The global military coalition had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity's resolve could not be broken. Earth had fought back, and the invaders had fallen. But the victory came at a high cost. The damage to Earth was immense, and rebuilding would take years, if not decades. The scars of war would remain, but humanity had prevailed. The alien threat was over. The global coalition began the difficult task of rebuilding, but with a newfound unity and strength. The world's leaders promised to ensure that the lessons of this war would never be forgotten and that humanity would never again be caught unprepared. After the decisive victory over the invaders, humanity found itself standing at the crossroads of both relief and mourning. The war, which had ravaged the earth and tested the limits of human resilience, had ended, but at what cost? The invaders were vanquished within a month after the coordinated assault that destroyed their leader and the crumbling remnants of their forces. Yet, even as Earth celebrated the hard-won victory, the scars of war were everywhere. Victory and reflection. Across the globe, humanity erupted in both jubilation and sorrow. In every major city, monuments to the fallen were erected, and ceremonies were held to honor those who had fought and perished. The victory celebrations were grand, with people filling the streets in mass gatherings, waving flags of unity, and singing songs of triumph. The sound of fireworks echoed across the skies, a symbolic reminder that Earth had once again secured its place in the cosmos. But for many, it was a bittersweet celebration. The toll of the war, devastated cities, shattered families, lost loved ones, could not be forgotten so easily. The victory was earned, but it had been hard-won. Humanity now stood at a moment of collective reflection, aware that the universe was far larger, more dangerous, and more complex than they had ever imagined. The alien invasion, which had come from the depths of space with overwhelming force, was a stark reminder of the fragility of human existence. Yet, in the face of annihilation, humans had proven their ability to unite, to adapt, and to overcome. As the world turned its eyes to the future, there was no illusion about the path ahead. The destruction of Earth's cities had left a deep wound, and the task of rebuilding would take decades. Entire regions were left uninhabitable, while others lay in ruins. Yet, humanity's response to the devastation was one of strength and resolve. It was not just about reconstruction but about transformation. The war had united the world in a way nothing else ever could. Once deeply divided by national borders, cultural differences, and ideological disputes, humanity now recognized the importance of unity in the face of an existential threat. The global coalition, forged in the fires of battle, would not fade into the past. It had become the foundation upon which Earth would rebuild. Global reconstruction efforts began almost immediately. The United Earth Alliance, formed by the nations who had worked together during the war, took charge of the global reconstruction. Their first task was to provide for the immediate needs of the displaced populations: food, clean water, shelter, medical care, and to begin restoring critical infrastructure, such as power grids, communication systems, and transportation networks. But rebuilding didn't just mean returning to what Earth had been before. It meant creating a stronger, more resilient world. With alien technology now at humanity's disposal, Earth's energy systems were overhauled, leading to the creation of cleaner, more efficient power sources that could sustain the global population. Technologies used to reverse-engineer alien technology were now repurposed to improve agriculture, healthcare, and manufacturing. Weapons of war turned into tools for peace. In the places that had suffered the most from the alien occupation, cities reduced to rubble and entire regions left barren, humanity worked not only to rebuild but to reinvigorate them. Instead of just reconstructing old buildings, new cities were designed to be more resilient to natural disasters and future threats. Sustainable cities began to rise from the ashes, utilizing technology and materials that were once unimaginable. While the physical aspects of rebuilding were critical, so too was the emotional and psychological healing. The trauma of the war ran deep, and mental health programs were implemented globally. Psychologists, therapists, and counselors worked with veterans, survivors, and civilians alike to help them process their grief and trauma. Humanity was not just rebuilding its cities, but also its collective spirit. The defense of Earth. Despite the victory, there was no delusion that the universe was now a safe place. The alien invaders had been just one of countless civilizations in the cosmos, and while humanity had defeated them, they knew others might be lurking out there, waiting for their opportunity to strike. The survivors of the war, especially those who had witnessed firsthand the devastation of an alien invasion, understood that Earth could not afford to be unprepared again.